3, 2.
Hey everyone. Hey everyone. Well, hey everyone. How are you doing? Welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I'm your host Ryan. I'm Nick.
That's Bill.
Oops,
Oh, no, I'm Bill.
We like to watch horror movies together.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Three Strangers podcast. I am your host Ryan.
I'm Skippy.
Hey.
I'm Bill.
And I'm Nick.
And we definitely didn't plan the order before we started.
Yeah. We forgot. When there's 4 of us, you need to plan the order twice.
We really said, okay, Skippy will go second, and third and fourth we'll just shoot in the dark.
That's exactly what happens. All right. Well, wow. Good to have you on, Skippy. My goodness.
Thank you.
I hope everything's well. Everything's well.
Yeah, same to you guys.
What are we discussing today, Ryan? I feel like a lot.
We have a lot to discuss. We got 7 movies. We've got a new song released by Skippy to discuss.
Whoa.
Gotta plug it. And of course, I had to talk to Skippy. I sent the Guru meme with like the gun. And I
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I told him one of his old songs. I was like, release Aliens Wear Prada.
I know.
What?
I need to. It's been. When did I show you that? Like 2020. It's like actually been 5 years. It's crazy.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One of my friends from high school got he was like a SoundCloud rapper, and he got in trouble for using the Incredibles theme song.
Oh.
He got copyright struck. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Weird thing. It made me think about that. Just be careful, Skippy. Register your stuff, okay? But anyway.
Yeah, no Incredibles music.
None.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use the Incredibles theme.
All right. Yeah. So we've got 7 movies to discuss. We're going to talk about the movies that we got from the last podcast, where they're all going to be spoilers. There's going to be no non-spoilery section. It's going to be full spoilers. So this is your warning now. We'll introduce the movie right before we do spoilers, and then we're going. But last podcast, we didn't have the chance for Skippy to open his DVD that he got.
Yep.
So right here, right now, live on camera, he is going to reveal what he got.
No way! Wait, what? Shut up! Shut up! What does this mean? What does that mean? No!
So I sent Skippy a movie, right? And I was waiting for him, and he texted me. He's like, I got the movie, right? All this build up. And then 5 days later, he texts me and goes, it was the Surf's Up video game. It wasn't the movie.
No way.
Yeah, but the actual movie we think got stolen. We sent to him.
I got switched.
Well, okay, no. So it was in a package. Hold on, I have the package. One second.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. For clarification, Brian, you ordered him the movie Surf's Up?
No, I ordered him a different movie.
It came in this package, and it looked like the movie. So I assumed that it was the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, I got the movie.
It just goes, right, it's not the movie, it's the Surf's Up video game.
So,
wow, that's really funny.
Yep.
It's really funny.
The actual movie got stolen, and honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't return the movie back after seeing what movie they stole.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure. So what did you intend to get?
So I intended to give Skippy the movie Stay Alive, which is a 2006 horror movie about, I'll just read the tagline of, you die in the game, you die for real.
Freaking Sword Art Online.
Yep.
Literally just Sword Art Online.
Yep.
Anyway. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think this is a great place to start. We'll start with talking with Stay Alive. Full spoilers. Before Skippy starts talking about, unfortunately, what he watched.
Yeah.
Some important things to talk about in it. Frankie Muniz is in it.
What?
Yeah.
How old? 2006 Frankie Muniz. So when he was still doing
2006. Right at the end of Malcolm.
Okay.
Damn. Malcolm in the
Old.
Middle Star. Frankie Muniz.
Technically,
weird
one of the only Disney horror movies.
Oh.
Because the studio that was being made from got bought out by Disney.
Oh, interesting.
So one Disney horror movies.
One on one.
So Skippy, the floor is yours. Tell us about your adventure with Stay Alive.
All right. So, I think it was like this was just like the opening credits for the production studios, and the first one was I think Endgame Studios, and I was like, is that an Avengers reference?
Whoa.
And then, and then it was a Stay Alive production was like the next one, which is weird for it being I think the only Stay Alive. Yeah, just the name of the movie. Also, it was awkward. But my first note is Malcolm in the Middle with a bunch of exclamation points.
Yeah,
I was surprised to see him in this movie. I thought that he had some of the best acting in the movie. Like surprisingly, like it was pretty good. He's like the little skittish, techie kid character that like gets the game the best, I guess. He's like the one that he's like the guy in the chair almost, but they're all in a chair in this movie. And then I don't know. I mean, I think that overall it was a pretty okay movie. Like it wasn't. I saw like some of the reviews. It got like an 11% on something, and I thought that was doing it a little dirty. I thought that it was better than that. Like. Yeah. I enjoyed watching most of it. I thought that it was entertaining, at least. The horror elements weren't terrifying. Like, I wasn't scared. I mean, most of them were like really bad CGI to make them look like they were like part of the game, but it was like in real life. So that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, there were just some disjointed effects, I think, which led to it feeling a lot more cheesy than it would have if they had kept the CGI in the game and then also kept the real life effects in like the real life sequences. I think that would have been a better way to split it up. And there's one other thing about the game specifically. Oh yeah, the game doesn't have like a set perspective in the movie, so like the characters they're like the camera angles are switching between like viewing two of the characters to viewing like the game in first person to viewing the game in like a third person like solo player game. It just made it was like
it just jumped around.
It was very disorienting.
Like I could see it being like a PUBG kind of thing where you can like switch between like first and third person, but it, like the camera angles were just all over the place. It was very difficult to like get a good read on what the game actually was, I guess. But yeah, so that was interesting. Let's see. So there's this character called Phineas. I don't know. Have you? I'm assuming Ryan's watched the movie. I don't know if you guys have watched the movie.
We have not. I think I've heard of it. I knew about it.
Okay. All right.
I haven't played it. Yeah.
So there's this character Phineas, and he's pretty like egregious throughout the whole thing. Like I just don't like a lot of the lines that he has, I guess. But he's the comic relief, so I guess that's like his job. But
just to quickly cut in, he's Liam McPoyle from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. If you watch that show,
yeah. McPoyles.
Yep.
Good. I want to see this movie now.
The cast was pretty good.
The cast is surprisingly like when you look through, you're like, oh, like we have a Gilmore Girl like character in it.
I was trying to come up with other examples, dude. The McPoyle actors show up in bit parts in so many movies. Sorry, like that's when you said that. I was like, because it's like there's this weird theory I have that they just.
Yeah, that's why I had to jump in and say that, because as soon as you said Theos, I was like, McPoyle.
But they're just, all of the other characters are together figuring out, like, in this very moment that the game, like, when you die in the game, you actually die in real life the same way that you die in the game. So all the characters, except for this one, figured this out, right? And he didn't tell them that he died in the game, and he just goes like driving off on his own for some reason. But in the like super intense moment where they're all like, oh, everyone is dying by the same means that they died in the game, it just hard cuts to him singing in like this little red, like I don't know what kind of car it was, some sports car, and he was just singing his heart out for no reason. It was great. It was awesome. And then he gets run over by like a horse and buggy.
Oh my god!
Yep. That was quite awesome. That was honestly one of the funnier like slasher scenes, I think. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, when they were finally like going to hunt down the developer of the game, who ends up like not mattering at all. But
love that. Yeah.
He's like, oh, you should go look at this book, and they're like, oh, okay, and then they leave and go to try to find the book.
So he doesn't even come with them?
No, no.
Okay, I hate that plot control and stuff. Anyway, whatever.
But so I think they're on their way to his house, and this girl Abigail, in her van, and she's like, this entire time you think like she's like some prissy girl from Georgia. And then in the car, she's like, actually, I'm not going to Princeton. I'm not who you think I am. You see this van? This is where I live. And everyone's like, oh,
yeah,
okay. And then it just moves on, and then like it never gets brought up ever again. There's no reason for it to happen. That's
awesome.
So good. It was so good. And then Malcolm in the Middle, because I think his name is like, what is it, Swizz?
Yeah, Swink.
That's it. Yeah, Swink. Yeah.
It's Swink.
Yeah. His character like is set to distract the final, like, I don't know, boss, for lack of a better term, like the big bad, the villain of the movie / game.
Bathory.
Yeah. And they almost like the film fakes his death.
Oh,
like I didn't see. I don't know, Ryan. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't see where he. No. Okay. Yeah. he lays down in like this bed of flowers, and then the two main characters, I guess, run back to the van where all the computer stuff is, and they open up the game, and they see that his character died in like a bed of flowers, and they're like, "Oh, Swank, he's dead," and then they just move on, and they don't care. So my note was initially that they did not care about Malcolm in the Middle at all. Like they just it was like a one note death. It was awful.
Oh man.
But then at the very end of the movie, the main girl Abigail, she's like strung up, like about to be drained of blood, right? In that part, or is that beforehand? I'm mixing up scenes, Ryan.
I think at that part, that's where there's my timer for the the 10 minutes. But you can finish up. You can finish up.
And, all right, she's in some kind of dangerous predicament, and then Swink just comes running in and saves her. So he doesn't actually die.
He's alive.
Yeah, even though like I wasn't sure he didn't have. So there's this thing with the ghost where if you have a rose, it'll protect you from the ghost, and he didn't have a rose on him when he was in like the same situation that he was in the game.
But he died on a rose bush.
Is that what it was?
That's what they try to get away with. That's why.
But he died on a rosebush in the game, so why wouldn't he also die? Because then they're breaking their own rules.
Listen,
The film doesn't even live up to the tagline.
Oh
I-
man. Listen,
Yeah.
we
Die
can't
in the
have
game.
Malcolm die, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was heartbreaking. But I have one last thing about this film, and then we can move on. The very end, the game is finally like published after they like break the curse or whatever, and this guy, like the guy that runs like the GameStop, I guess for lack of a better term, I don't know what kind of game store it was, but he puts the disc in the tray, and it just kind of it leaves you believing that like the cycle just kind of resets, like it restarts, and there's no actual payoff to any of the death that occurred for the main characters. Like there's no payoff for their sacrifices throughout the entire film. Like it just kind of hard resets whenever you start the game up again. So it's like, what is the?
Damn.
It's just it's a perpetual state of
It's a cycle.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Is it a metaphor for something? Like I don't.
It was a way to show off the PlayStation 2.
That's
That's what he plays on.
that makes sense. Yeah, I noticed that it was a PlayStation and an Alienware laptop. A lot of Alienware stuff, and I didn't know that they were around 2006. I had no idea.
There's a lot of Alienware in that movie.
Yeah, crazy. But yeah, I would say like out of 10, I'd give it like a 4 or 5 probably. Yeah.
So to jump off of quickly, like to finish up what you're saying, Skippy, and then going to our next movie. So I had you watch the unrated director's cut.
Yes.
That is what has our exposition and everything. In the original that was released, why it has the 11% rating is they got rid of any exposition. So it would just kind of jump from scene to scene, and people like, but how did they get here? Like, why? How do they know this now? So they cut out basically all of the exposition, have all the deaths, but then cut away as soon as the deaths were going to happen, or like not show as much of it.
But it's not even that long of a movie.
Yeah. It's Disney.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's why a lot of the stuff doesn't make sense or storylines don't kind of add up, because Disney came in and was like, release it. Like, we don't want to deal with it.
Gotcha.
Never happened.
So
like have it make any amount of money and we'll be happy kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and they wanted a PG-13 rating to get more people to be able to see it. So that's why they cut basically everything in the movie to get it to PG-13.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, make sure you watch the unrated director's cut, because at least that's a more enjoyable experience.
It was entertaining. Like I liked it. I thought it was an okay movie. Would I rewatch it? Probably not, but it was all right.
All right. And I think that's a good jumping off point for my movie about not rewatching something.
No.
Let's get into it.
Let me put on my timer for this movie. All right. Oh, hold on. That was 6 minutes. Hold up. All right. We're going to, okay. Dogtooth.
They're going to talk about Mad God. I'm like, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Okay.
There's so much to say about this movie, but I would be demonetized. Our channel would become demonetized if we talk about almost anything in this movie. So for this one, I'm going to stay kind of towards the non-spoilery side of things.
Okay, yeah, stay suitable for work.
Yeah. It's by Yorgos, our freaky boy Yorgos. One of his earlier films. I think this is his third film that he came out, his third feature film.
Put him on the map, though. I would argue.
Yes.
It did, yeah, this repelled.
Definitely. This was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the 83rd Academy Awards and did not win.
Oops.
I
wonder why.
Some positive things to say about it. it's directed great. Characters do exactly what they need to do. They're creepy when they need to be. They're sympathetic when you need them to be. A standout performance, I would probably say, is the eldest daughter. And there's a reason that I refer to her as eldest daughter, which is more towards the spoilery side of the things with this movie. But basically, it's about a husband and a wife who have 3 children, and they hide them from the world. They have a fenced-in property, and only the father ever leaves. That is the only character that we see leave the house and go out into the world. And the family will do anything to make sure these 3 children do not go out into the world or know anything. So whether it's replacing what something actually means, like there's an example of the sea. They tell the kids that the sea means an armchair. Or there's later reference to one of the kids asks what a zombie is, and the mother says, "Oh, that's just a yellow flower." So there's this sort of thing with protection. There are a lot of themes, so many themes with this movie. And of course, it's a Yorgos film. There's going to be a whole bunch of different themes that he's going to go over. But I listened to a part of an interview that he released where he kind of says that his idea of the movie was what he thought families in the future could be doing, which I thought was a really interesting take for him to say after watching what I watched. Because I don't know, anyone in their right mind would think that this is what's going to happen in the future. And I don't know, like, Greek culture that well to kind of see where he might be coming from, if this is something where, like, in his home country that it would be more prominent. But there's some things in this movie, some topics that it wants to discuss, and is extremely uncomfortable. And it does an excellent job of making you uncomfortable through the entire watch of this film. I don't know what else I could say without going full spoiler and saying
And demonization.
Yeah,
I guess you
all I'll
could
say
say
is
go on.
content warning for Wang Doodle.
Doodle.
Yep. Full frontal. Both male and female.
Hey, Ryan. It's called art, buddy. It's called art, buddy. Why don't you take your sensitive ass back to the lobster? All right?
Bill, when you watch this movie,
I'm sure it's fucked up.
You're going to get 2 minutes in and be like, all right, I'm vibing. And then be like, what is he doing?
Show my head. I thought some of this stuff in Poor Things was a little sussy. I thought some was a little suspect, but a little sussy.
He's a little freakmeister. That
yeah, he's into it. Apparently he has this thing and he rocketed it. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all that I wanted to say about it. I took half the time. I like I said, I don't want to go spoiler with it because of fear of demonetization and all of that. There's so much more that I could say, but I don't recommend it if you're if you're freaky, I recommend it.
Well,
Drake movie.
Okay. Well, okay. How about this? And, sorry, I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know. I've heard some notoriety around it. If there was parts in it that made you uncomfortable, right? To the least, right? If those parts weren't in the movie, would it stand on its like own merit?
Good question.
Or like rather, I guess like the question I'm really trying to ask, like, do those parts ruin the movie for you?
I think that's a good question. And I think that also leads to the discussion of like show don't tell, but also for horror films, is it more effective showing what it wants to show you or hearing what you want, what is happening, but you don't see it?
And also like I would argue like the show don't tell thing, like, you know, I sorry, this is so weird. I don't know what kind of movie this is, but I can imagine, like, you know, things get exploited really fast, right?
Yes.
And like, you know, this is somebody who's like, sorry, you ever watch something and you're like, oh damn, this is the person who made this is kink, you know? They were like, they were like kinky with this. Like, it just, something about it is just like like it's like, oh, they like made this for themselves, like weirdly, you know? Like sometimes, like, does it feel like that, or when you're watching this, or do you think that the exploitative, or I don't know if you would classify them as that, do you feel like they're not serving the movie?
I think those moments do want to make you uncomfortable. That is its ultimate goal. I'm curious to know if, one, there was an intimacy coordinator on set for moments of this movie. And two, if not, I would love to hear from like the actors and actresses and hearing like why they like, usually then it falls on the director to be that coordinator, what Yorgos was doing to make them feel comfortable to be able to do and show the things that they do in this movie.
Really?
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, well, now I gotta see this friggin' movie.
I knew going in what Nick had told me in terms of like, you know, be ready to expect a certain expectation. And it goes past that expectation, I thought, for me a lot, with certain things that they show and things that they don't cut away from automatically, that now I gotta like look on the back to see this has to be unrated. This can't be R. But with what's shown, there's absolutely no, I think it's unrated, because there's no way this film would have gotten away being R.
Yeah.
But
it's also a Dutch film. I don't know if there's a unit. You know, I always question the universality of those things like intimacy coordinators that are like so strictly like with the actors union in America that is so important. But is that different in different European countries?
Yeah, and I mean some sets don't require like the movie Suitable Flesh, if I remember correctly. Oh my God, what's his name? I want to say David Lynch, but it's just because he passed away today, and I saw that. That's like now on my mind.
Hold on,
I got. Yeah, R.I.P. David Lynch. What a director.
Like, sorry, I could talk about the rest of the episode about that guy, but anyway.
Yeah, Joe Lynch is who I was trying to talk about. Joe Lynch. They didn't require an intimacy coordinator. They felt comfortable, the actors, enough with Joe Lynch for his movie. So I'm curious, like I said, if there was an intimacy coordinator. I mean, it could be a thing. This came out in 2009. In that era, you know, would they require that, or are they just with the director? Are they really comfortable with what they're doing, or is this, you know, they need the money, they're gonna film what they need to do?
Okay.
You know, all questions to bring up, and that ends up leading me to my time.
Wow.
All right. So that's Dogtooth. Let's jump to Bill. And Bill, I'll let you choose whichever movie you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tee this off. I'm gonna tee this off with The Day of the Beast.
Ooh.
And, what's it? I feel like Communion will be like a good, like, you know, it's a good come down movie maybe. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Day of the Beast. So sorry. You and I have both seen this movie, right? Now.
Yep, I've seen it.
All right, my cat's doing something very naughty. Just 1 second. I'm sorry.
And for the record,
okay.
I have not seen it. Only Bill and Ryan. Skippy, I don't know if you have.
Nope.
Have you heard? Yeah, okay. I think I've heard of The Day of the Beast. I don't know much.
The name definitely rings a bell, but
yeah,
I don't think I've seen it.
So what I could say while Bill's dealing with his cat issues is just that it's a Spanish horror comedy. In Spanish, it's El Dia de la Bestia. And it was directed by Alex de la Iglesia, whose filmography is incredible.
Yeah. I want to see more of his stuff because of this movie, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I guess that's like a good review for it already, but more or less, it's an interesting story. I would define it as a black comedy. Would you say, Ryan?
100%.
I would define it as a black comedy. It has to deal with a pretty interesting subject matter that basically a priest is attempting to stop the birth of the Antichrist, and he wants to do that by infiltrating the ranks of Satanists, so that when the Antichrist is born, he could be like, oh, secretly I'm actually I'm a good guy, and kill the baby, kill the Antichrist. It's very interesting because the devil is like in the movie, right? There's like legions of Satan's followers, and everything. I think the most interesting thing about the movie, though, is that this is kind of weird. What this movie made me think most about, in terms of movies that I've seen recently, is freaking, oh god, I'm so bad with names. The Korean movie we reviewed,
Exuma.
Exuma,
yeah.
dude, because what happens in this endeavor is that this ragtag group of people, and the principal guy is Angel, which is of course like, okay, yeah, it would be Angel,
right on the nose.
And so this priest Angel, he assembles this ragtag group of people that include an actual Satanist that gets turned to I was just in it for the aesthetic, I didn't realize it was real, and so that he gets converted. And they also talk to Kavan, who is a host of a show, and it's very interesting, honestly, because it all sort of takes place, and it really speaks to it's De La Iglesia, right?
Yep.
It really speaks to his strengths as a filmmaker because there's so many shots in the movie, which and I actually deep dove into the Wikipedia on it. I won't go too much into specific framing things, except for one thing, which is where the final battle happens. And I think there are a few buildings that I can imagine that could be better for the use of a final battle, and it's this. I'll try to pull up a picture of it quick, but it's this thing called the Gate of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever heard of this? You
Yep.
guys ever? It's this crazy thing, and sorry, this is gonna be a little weird. You're gonna see it through my screen, but those are two buildings. Like at an angle to each other, and it's like this symbology of it's like the gate to the underworld and stuff like that. And by the time they actually get to spoiler alert, they do it, but it's kind of in a ridiculous way. It's basically just like a bit of a firefight at the end.
Mm-hmm. Out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. That's what really shocked me. And he shoots the devil. And I don't know if that means that the devil is now gone. And what's really interesting, maybe something I didn't really understand, they were in the middle of, they had a baby. That was the Antichrist. Yep. Can you enlighten me on this a little bit, Ryan? They're killing the baby?
Yep.
Why are they killing the Antichrist? Maybe I missed something. Yeah, I missed.
That was kind of the point. They wanted to stop the birth, but if they cut it, to kill the Antichrist.
Oh, okay, but sorry, maybe it's like dropped like translation thing, but it looked like the followers of Satan were trying to kill the Antichrist.
So this
And
is where
I
it gets
was
like kind of weird and like the black comedy like aspects of like
even
certain
they
things.
don't like thing or something. I don't know, but
So there's a lot about like gang violence as well within the movie that we follow. So
yeah, Satan's followers are like a gang. They're like a violent gang.
yeah, and so basically, I don't know if they fully entail of what is happening and what is going on. They're very strange characters in the movie, and it's something that just like it's the same thing as you, language barrier. Like there's some things that I feel like for us it just doesn't fully translate.
Because what's interesting is that there's a lot of events that position it to be it's like the nativity, but it's like the dark, evil, fucked up nativity. Because I mean it's the Antichrist, right?
Right,
but
yeah.
the wise men show up and they get killed. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like messed up. Yeah, there's like billboards announcing, like instead of like a star, there's this really prominent billboard. Yeah,
okay.
it's like
it's so like some parallelism to the birth of Christ, but because it's the Antichrist, it's using like any
fucked up and
total
gross,
opposite thing.
Right? Like not natural. Madrid, the city, is presented as really, really kind of dirty. I'll be real. I don't know what 90s Madrid was like, but it did not make it seem like a good place to be around. I think of like films in like 70s and 80s New York City, depicted as very gross. Taxi Driver comes to mind. Death Wish comes to mind. I almost said Death Note. That would have been really embarrassing. I stopped myself. Thank you guys. Yeah. Overall, sorry to wrap this up though. I really like this movie. I thought it was an interesting kind of parody of not maybe parody is a strong word, but retelling of the what faith means and like what like and I won't get like too into my own interactions with religion, but it's very interesting how it becomes this almost like buddy cop road movie, which I'm generalizing 1,000,000% here, but it's like they're kind of like, oh, like you're trying to kill the Antichrist. Well, I got nothing better to do, I'll come along with you, But it sounds
like something to do.
Yeah, right. It's really Angel's charisma that really carries the thing. I recommend it. Out of 10, 7.5, 8. 7.5, 8. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Good. I would rewatch it, but not for a little bit. That was good. I enjoyed it though. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I also try to look up and basically why the Satan's like gang tries to kill the Antichrist. Same thing, like the movie's very satirical and it's trying to play on that like absurdity and irony that they like were the reason that it happened, and they would be the ones to be like, oh, let's get rid of it.
Yeah, it's like weird. It's like when they come upon them at that gate of Europe, like plaza there. It's like they're already in the middle. They're like, no, like we got this. Like we don't like the Antichrist either. Like maybe Satan is worried about the power vacuum that's gonna come if there's something even more evil than him out there. But yeah. So no, good movie.
Good timing.
Well,
awesome.
That's how we do it, baby.
Nice.
That's how we do it.
Good job. All right, Nick.
All right.
Your turn. You can choose whichever one you want.
Okay. I'm going to choose what I thought was the greater of the two, not to make this a competition, but it might have made it a competition. So I'm going to talk about Pin.
What? Oh,
I was entertained by both. I will say the other movie, I didn't realize it was supposed to be a comedy until afterwards. I think maybe Brian had told me and I had forgotten. I think the problem is the cover of the other movie looks like a serious movie. And so just kind of whatever. But it's okay. But I had a good time with it. But now Pin.
All three of us watched it, right?
Okay. Pin starts off with a creepy scene where you think it's going to be about this guy in a wheelchair who haunts a house. Little kids are afraid of him, and it's like, oh, okay, this is where it's setting up to be. It's like a haunted house kind of thing. And then you start to realize that Pin is the name of this character, but he's actually this plastic medical body used for, like, you'd see in like a doctor's office with eyes and like the muscular system exposed, right?
He's creepy. He's just creepy. Like
he's creepy.
Yeah, he purposely.
Yeah. Yes, and you see in the beginning that the doctors and that the parents who are doctors are using this guy Pin, kind of like a creepy brain pop for all of you who had brain pop in school. Imagine Moby. Yes, yeah.
Moby. Fuck.
The
years. Reeling in the years. Holy shit. Okay.
But yeah, kind of use him as a demonstration doll. One thing leads to another, and the son who gets trapped in there because his mom comes in and he's hiding. And so he hides behind some kind of curtain while he sees his mom use this Pin name, this character, the big plastic model, for her sexual pleasure. Because it's also anatomically correct. Now,
Wang Doodle warning.
Wang Doodle.
Yeah.
Although there was no nudity.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's the 80s Canada, probably.
Certainly using that. Yeah.
Probably. But anyway.
But now here's what really, after that, I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be a weird ass movie.
Yeah.
And then what I realized is you come to watch what really is what sexual trauma can do to a kid. The kid, the son who witnesses it is suddenly abhors any sexual, has an aversion to any kind of sexual thing, is violent against people who are sexual with his sister, and kind of grows up like not having that sexual pleasure. Which, if we're talking about psychodynamicism and psychological thriller, really taps into this theory of the psychosocial development and what happens when that gets stunted, which is kind of in the teachings of Freud, which is interesting. I think, Bill, you had mentioned that I'd be interested in it because of that, and you were absolutely right. No, most of the time you get these films that are just kind of like in your face, like, oh my God, he wants to have sex with his mom.
Right.
It's like, and it's that's something that's like, oh yeah, and I got that gets played to death, no pun intended. And it I think this movie does it really well. I'm not gonna lie. I think like the way that he develops and this Pin character becomes the form of his trauma, but not in a he wants to kill it kind of way, but in a way that he reverts to his childlike mind, where he suddenly makes this Pin guy his friend and relies on him and talks to him and speaks as his voice. In the movie, she is looking up schizophrenia because that's what she assumes it is. It's not. Fun fact. It would be more closely related to dissociative identity disorder, which was more commonly known as multiple personality disorder. Because the reason of that is schizophrenia is like voices on the inside, whereas dissociative identity disorders have identities. They actually have verbal examples of which other people hear. So anyway, so you kind of see the manifestation of these symptoms, and he winds up murdering people who want to be sexual with his sister, and or want to take Pin away. And so, I mean, it turns there's poisoning that's involved, and then sister's romantic partner gets attacked, and spoiler alert here, but it ends with the total fusion of the trauma and the character. And so you in the last scenes, you're thinking, oh, I think the guy got arrested, the son gets arrested, or the son dies. And you realize, no, the son takes on the form of Pin in his clothes and his voice, and is suddenly the embodiment of Pin, and the trauma has officially onset. And I really, honestly, I think it was pretty artfully done. You know, I think it's a little reminiscent of like Chucky, in a sense where it's like you're dealing with a doll, and this is just a human-sized doll, but it's not so fantastical like Chucky, where he can like throw a car or something that has like super strength. It's very much like it's just the son this whole time, and you're seeing him crumble, and what that does to the outside, and what that does with his and his sister's relationship, and his grief too, because grief is also a huge part. And especially if you combine sexual trauma with heavy grief, like something like losing a parent,
which happens
in an early, in a young, in a child, young, it is, you're much more likely to develop these kind of symptoms in the future. So it really, honestly, well done. The director, let's see if I can pronounce his name.
Sandor Stern.
Sandor Stern.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I closed the tab with the information I did. Yeah, he was the screenplay writer for the original 1979 Amityville Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you know what? It kind of evokes that same creepiness, that same where like you kind of believe that this could happen. And so I think he has that form well. I wish he did more, honestly. I wish he had. I mean, he does have like filmography, but I wish he had more kind of well known. I think Passions is probably, after the Amityville Horror, I feel like Passions is his probably, or maybe Shattered Innocence. But anyway, different kind of a vibe of a movie. So I really enjoyed it. I think I'd give it like 9 out of 10.
It's just that, it's just that. I'm glad you liked it. I'm really glad you liked it. I figured you would. I'll be honest. When I first saw it, sorry if I can take the mic for a second. When I first saw it, I thought it was going to be some like kind of lame, like like killer mannequin thing, or like there's this weird thing like they play around with this idea that like Pin is like articulate and like is its own thing, but never ever is that the case. It's just that he is so real in the mind of the main character that it almost feels like it. But yeah, dude, no, lot to explore with. It's very weird because I would argue in some ways, Pin is a stand-in for the main character's father.
Yes.
sort of an
Yeah.
idealized
100%.
sense of the father. And that is kind of driven home in maybe a kind of, weird way when dresses him up to look like him a little
Yes,
later on.
In his clothes. Yeah,
In
it's
his
a little on the
clothes.
nose for
And
sure.
with the skin mask and everything. Yeah. Great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It really shocked me how good it was. And I'm just going to say, I mean, I think we know this. Not very well known. You know?
Yeah.
Appreciated, but not very well known. So.
Yeah. I highly recommend it for anyone who's really in mind.
Oh.
Bam.
Mhm. Yeah,
Damn.
that was good. I do want to add because it was very strong, this movie. I really enjoyed watching it. Something that we kind of allude to but never said was the performances are excellent.
Yes.
All around.
Yeah.
Actors are very good. Yeah.
And decently well-known actors are in this. Like the voice of Penn is Jonathan Banks.
Yeah.
Like that's Mike in Breaking Bad.
Oh my goodness.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep. Also Commissioner Gordon in the Arkham Knight Batman video games.
Goated.
Dude, I am blown away. I didn't know. There was something familiar about Pin's voice that is not actually his voice, but is the voice given to him. Dude, that's Jonathan Banks. That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Jonathan Banks. You have Terry O'Quinn. Big horror guy. He was the stepfather in the movie The Stepfather in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Iconic role for him, but also he's
in
in
Lost.
Lost.
He was the big Lost guy. Yeah.
Wait, in the show Lost?
Yep.
Wait, which character was he?
He's John.
Oh, he's John. Oh my God. Okay, John Locke.
Yep.
John Locke. Oh my God. Okay. Goddamn. Something. Okay, this is really stupid. Sorry, I know we gotta move on. I was I ended the movie. I'm like, damn, that was really good. Wait, that's so stupid though. Why is his name Pin? Why is his name Pin? They never explained that.
They do. They do. Yeah. There's a scene where, apparently, of all people, the boyfriend who comes over, it explains it. He goes, "Yeah, they used to whatever girl's name is, I forget. But she told me she used to call you Pinocchio, but then you never told a lie, so your nose never got big. So she just called you Pin."
Literally right over my head. He's Pinocchio, a thing that kind of wants to come alive. Maybe I don't know.
There is some parallel there. Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. I love the how the movie plays around with the thought of, is this doll going to come alive at any point and jump up? And it never does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like sometimes, and sorry, I have if I ever told you guys about this, it informs my horror sensibilities a lot. I don't like statues and mannequins and things that are the human shape that are inanimate. Ever since I was a little kid, I had this terrible fear that when I was walking in the department store that the mannequins were gonna start moving, and so this movie really worked for me in the horror thing. I thought just at some point Pin was just gonna get up, he was just gonna get up and start moving, So thank God that didn't happen. But But anyway, well, not
all right. So at this point, I'm gonna ask Skippy. We've got 3 more movies to discuss.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to give you the name of each one that we still have to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Either a random quote from the movie, a minor, a little description, or something like that for each one. I want you to decide what we talk about next.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Number 1 that we still need to discuss is Communion. And what I will say for that is Christopher Walken dancing with aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have Unwelcome. And for that one, I will say little silly guys who say things like, "No hitty, silly Billy."
Okay.
Or we have Mad God, a stop motion film with so much poop in this movie.
Poop.
That's what you focused on?
Poop.
That's what you focused on? Get out of here. Get your mind out of the gutter. Damn it.
I'm gonna go with the stop motion poop movie.
Good choice, Skippy. Good choice, Skippy.
Let's get that out of the way
All
soon.
right. So that's
People
my
order our patties.
People order our patty. So real.
All right.
Wh-
I just
Wendy's-
started it.
Wendy's
All right.
Krabby Patty meal is very mid. Sorry. Just gotta say that.
Yes.
Just gotta be real. Just gotta be real. Just gotta keep it in a buck.
Mad God. I'm a big fan of Mad God. I saw it before I got the DVD. I've watched it multiple times from like Joe Bob's what's it called, his last drive-in. That's also where I was introduced to Day of the Beast, which is why I thought of it for you.
Love to see his stuff on it. Cool. No.
Yes, definitely watch his like commentary on it. He goes in a lot more detail than I possibly can. And same thing with this movie. He's just incredibly smart and just nothing gets past him. But Mad God took over 30 years to make.
Jeez.
Countless students of Phil Tippett or people that wanted to help out. Phil Tippett's the director. Helped to create this movie. And you might know Phil Tippett. He's done work for Star Wars, Jurassic Park,
Sure.
RoboCop.
Yes.
Oh, RoboCop. Yeah.
So very seasoned guy who this was his dream project, which he wanted to make. And this apparently, like, he got sick multiple times trying to make it. He had to go to the hospital.
He almost went bankrupt.
Yeah, almost
few
went
times?
bankrupt,
Right.
started dealing with depression. And like this, it took a very, very long time for it to finally release.
Mm.
And I'm so glad that it did. It's
Mhm.
one of those films where when you're watching it, it's very experimental.
Not linear at all. Sorry.
Exactly, not linear at all. And it really makes you think about what you're seeing or watching. There's only one line in the entire movie. The rest, all sound, all
What?
visual. And the one line is like a little, oh no, from a character. That's it.
Oh my god.
There's no dialogue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The best way that I could describe the plot of this movie would be a character that's kind of credited or known as the assassin, who has a suitcase and a map, and he's basically descending through hell.
Yeah.
And-
he descends down, and it's like he's on a mission, but it's unclear what
Yes.
the mission is.
And we could see that there's been other assassins that have been sent down, and none have ever been successful. And we're led to believe that he is trying to destroy hell. He is trying to descend through the layers of hell and destroy it. And through the journey, we just kind of see like all of these different characters and like these thoughts of what could be in hell, what's in this layer, what's going to be happening. And we kind of see the story through the eyes of this assassin until he's killed.
He himself.
20 minutes in, they kill him off.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And from then, it just gets crazy with going through different characters in hell that we've never seen. The thought of how hell even started, what happened to humanity, what Phil Tippett believes could happen to humanity. And in the end, you're kind of stuck there seeing what's going to happen. Is the assassin successful in what he does as a new one descends and tries to go down? What will humanity be like? Is this the same fate that we go to? And it asks so many excellent, poignant questions without having a single line of dialogue.
That's crazy.
Wow.
If I could hop in for a second here, Ryan.
Of course.
Something that shocked me about this movie is that like this assassin guy is like an infiltrator into like this like hostile, like it's all hostile. Everything is bad and you're like down below. And also like you said, like, it's very intentional, the fact that he's descending, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like descending the entire time. What really got me though is just this like weird kind of idea that this has happened many times before. This is like cyclical, and to this end, it almost like seems like the point is not for him to do his mission. The point is for him to die, and the cycle happens again. It's like we don't ever find out about the mission because the mission's not important.
Yes.
The act of the mission is what's important. It's very interesting in that way. And sorry, this is all conveyed, I actually believe, pretty clearly in no dialogue.
Yep.
No dialogue. And very horrifying world. Shout out to Scary Babyland with the flying monoliths. That always kind of freaked me out. And it's also, the movie just looks so good.
It does.
It's so bleak, though. It's so bleak.
Very bleak, but it sticks with you. Every single shot within this stop motion there's a reason for it to be there. And it never overstays its welcome. There's always something that is happening and has some sort of deeper meaning in terms of the bigger narrative. Yeah. And I know I started off by saying the poop movie with all of that. There is a lot of poop in this movie. Like, there is like a portion where there is I don't even know like how to describe this thing, but basically its balls are getting shocked and it is just pooping. And then the poop is then turned into these little people who then basically are meant to build this society, or like, but there is like no goal within that because their lives are pointless in the end. They're very easily crushed and destroyed.
It's very bleak. It's very bleak. It's like
nihilism.
Yeah. Well, I would also say it's very like, the assassin keeps moving because everything in this down below area is like, it like exists to suffer, or cause suffering, because literally you're like in hell. So like, it's like, it's nothing matters and like things just get destroyed, and it will be rebuilt because it's all cyclical, right? I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
Definitely, I recommend this movie. It is, like we said, very experimental, very bleak, but very poignant.
It's not a feel-good movie by any means. It's not necessarily a feel-bad movie. It's a feel-something movie. It didn't help that when I saw it, I may have been on some substances. I'm just gonna sorry, the demonetization. Sorry, Ryan.
Perfectly legal ones.
Perfectly legal ones in the state of New York. Thank you. What's it? So yes, I feel like I experienced it on a different level. I'm not saying by any means that you never need.
No one's saying that like.
Level. I was like, wait a second, none of this shit matters. Like, I go, ah! I'm like, so real, man. God's so real. What really makes me wonder is how Phil Tippett's how his mental health is.
Yeah.
After creating something like this. It's tough. It's honestly tough to look at and get through at times, just because there's like this gross vivisection scene that I remember.
Yeah.
It's been a little gross since, or excuse me, it's been a little gross. True. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but I remember that one really stuck out to me.
Yeah, the stuff with the baby sticks out. I think the one complaint I would have with it is the baby cry is incredibly annoying.
So annoying. So loud. Anyway.
Very loud. But I mean, I'll end there. I have 10 seconds left on the timer, but I'll turn it off so that we could kind of get through, since we did talk a lot about Penn, deservingly so. Great movie. But all right, Skippy, you get to choose. Dancing Christopher Walken with aliens or silly little guys?
Oh, I like the sound of silly little guys more.
All right, so Unwelcome is this movie inspired by the Irish lore of redcaps, which are little goblins that live, according to the lore, the folklore of it, are little goblins who live outside of castles in Ireland. And it follows this couple, and it follows this couple who moves to Ireland after inheriting a house there. And on the way, you hear that the aunt who owned that house was found dead, and then the child of the aunt was never found. And thus kind of setting up the mystery of this movie. I will say there's this kind of subplot of the couple recovering from a traumatic break-in. The woman is pregnant, and she finds out she's pregnant. That's the first scene. And to celebrate, the guy leaves and then comes back, and then he's followed in by people who try to rob them and wind up beating them up in their own home. And the guy has to watch his wife be threatened at knife point, and they beat her on the ground. Very scary, honestly. I started off and wow, this was like a pretty intense way to start off a movie. And I thought, okay, it's going to be kind of a break-in. Then they get to this town, and they go to this trip, and there's this also subtext, which is often found in a lot of Irish movies and English movies, of the English versus Irish 7 Years' War, and there's more than that. There's 4 wars that the English and the Irish were against each other in, and so they get pretty much bullied by some of the local village folk. Not all of them. Some of them come to their aid. But in order to repair the house that they inherited, they hire this widower dad, and his 3 kids. And the kids hate the couple. The kids have this racial tension against the English couple. And the dad, the dad business owner, who's the kid's boss, constantly says, "Call me daddy," to the couple, to the wife, and that way of the couple you're following. Which is pretty funny. I mean, it because it happens so much. That's when the comedy starts. It's what the hell? And then there's a line where the girl goes why the fuck does he want me to call him daddy? And it's pretty funny. It gets pretty funny. I think I will say the acting is all very good. It reminded me, actually. Here's the same vibe. It kind of reminded me of Eden Lake with Broken London. I always forget what that stage was. Mm-hmm. There's you can tell that there is cultural tension happening. But then after forget how, and after the woman gets threatened somehow, she encounters this troll in the woods who saves this guy, the older and abused son, who is a little absent-minded.
Also, he played Hodor in Game of Thrones.
The actor. I was gonna say it.
Yeah,
it was the
Okay,
Hodor
sorry.
actor. So he's big guy,
big dude.
Massive.
Yeah. It really cool to see him. What's funny is he plays a similar character in Game of Thrones. The origin of Hodor is very similar, where he's kind of abused, and people neglect him. And they explored that only in like a couple episodes in the series, but it was very interesting to see him in a similar role and in a horror movie role. But he gets attacked and decapitated by these trolls in the forest. And there's something that I need to talk about with this movie that now once I understood that it was a comedy, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But I went into this movie thinking it was a serious movie, and there's the guy of this couple, the husband, who in the beginning gets pretty traumatized to the fact that he has to watch his wife, get beat up, pregnant wife get beat up.
Yeah, knowing he can't do anything.
No, he can't do anything. It's a serious thing. That would really, traumatize. But he really milks the fact that he wants to be a man and defend his wife. But then spends the entire movie both trying to be more strong and buff and more of a, physical threat against these kids who want to like her or who are harassing him. But also, at the same time, spends the whole movie forgetting about his wife and not considering his wife and being a terrible husband to his wife. And there was a scene in the woods where she's trying to explain to him that a troll saved her after Hodor tried to kill her. And that scene where she's trying to tell him that turns into him saying, "You don't understand what it's like to watch your wife get beat up and you have to do nothing." And it's like, bro, and this comes from him just not believing anything she's saying. It's like, bro's out here just...
bro's waffling in the middle of the woods after his wife almost got sexually assaulted by Hodor.
Jesus Christ.
Bro is a waffling gaslighter, and meanwhile his wife almost died a second time. I think it's a really these goblins come out and they essentially hunt down the family, and you think they're going to be good guys, and then you spend most of the movie thinking, oh my god, these horrible Dobby looking things, Dobbin with a knife looking things are like decapitating and knifing out the guts of the daughter worker, and it's silly. Like this part, like, it gets funny how ridiculous they are because there's just like a dozen of them, and they just start popping up all over the house and coming in from the roof
everywhere.
Yeah, it reminded me of oh man, shit.
Gremlins,
almost like Monsters Inc. with all of them running around.
Whoa!
But also, like the beginning of the. Is it the beginning of the Hobbit? Yes, it's the beginning of the Hobbit, where suddenly like all the visitors are coming in, and he doesn't want any of them in there, but they just start popping up throughout throughout his funny scene, great scene, but very much like that. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Great book. So anyway, that's all to say. I think it was a little predictable. It was funny. I mean, but as soon as the troll, as soon as they mentioned the baby was never seen, the first baby of the ant, I already knew like, oh, that means their baby's gonna disappear, and like, oh, she'll probably die, making the cycle return just like the lore. And that's exactly what happened. And the movie ends, although she doesn't die, but she gets to be the mom that she wants to be. And because She goes hunting in the woods, sees the aunt that's missing, kills her because they've like, I don't know, they've made her their queen. And then she becomes the queen, the lord of the Dobby with knives.
Yeah, there's a lot of Irish lore within this movie. And
Yeah.
I wanted to, firstly, there's so many good actors and actresses in this movie.
Yes.
I also want to mention the daughter of the workers. She's in Dairy Girls.
Yes, she's
Wow.
she's great in Dairy Girls. Definitely a sort of a different character for her.
Yeah. So with this movie, I wanted to talk about how you mentioned how like the dad of the incoming baby, you know, how that's the big thing for him, like trying to be tough to try to protect his wife. And I think that's kind of the point of him then not paying attention to her anymore, because he's so focused now on himself and what he's going to do and how he's going to handle it, that then he starts disregarding everything that his wife says, because now he is the man, he is in charge. When as soon as the action starts, it's his wife who's the one that's trying to fend them off, is doing everything that she can. And he's like instantly almost killed.
Yeah.
Like almost instantaneously, he is almost killed. And then we have our goblin, our red cap, jump from the ceiling hole down like a dive bomber.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard because I want to say, like, I love this movie. It is 100% a comedy. But when you say that this movie's a comedy, and then the first scene of the movie is this horrific experience of a break-in, and the wife gets the crap kicked out of her stomach.
Yeah.
Like uncomfortably long.
Yeah. And it's a line, you know, that's a line that you don't often see cut across. A pregnant character get.
Keep on going. It's okay. Keep on going.
Definitely another parallel with Game of Thrones, right? Where you see the line being crossed of a pregnant woman getting eaten or killed. But that's probably relevant much. But yeah.
And it has that element. Yeah. And it has an element of like the, you know, be careful what you wish for element. Like they mention how the aunt, I think it was her husband, was sick and he was going to die. And the aunt begged the Redcaps to like protect him, let him live. And then he magically started to get better. And then she lost her baby. So then that's parallel later on with our main character who's pregnant, who's supposed to have the baby. She knows that the family's going to attack them, try to kill them, because they know something happened to Hodor, which we're just calling him Hodor now. And they know that they had something to do with this. So they're going into like, basically they're going to kill him. It's very heavily suggested throughout the movie that the father is very abusive and like he's going to do anything. She begs the Redcaps to protect them, to let them survive it, to fight for them. And the same thing for a price. She has the baby. Then
she says, "I'll do anything."
So,
hey, worth saying too for funniest moments, very quick, and then we can stop talking about it. One, in that murderous search where the guy wants to kill him, the owner, the dad or whatever, he's knocking at the door. He goes, "Danny, me boy, you got to open up." Because I couldn't help but think about just Krusty Krab saying, "SpongeBob, me boy."
Yeah.
And then the second is having to do with this, you know, husband who's he gets the moment, he is going to stand, but the guy approaches them with a shotgun. He goes, you know, "No, I'm going to defend my wife." He just stands up in between a person with a shotgun and his wife who's about to have a baby. And he goes, "Come on." And he puts his fist up. And then he gets shot with a shotgun. Like, what do you think is going to happen? You wanted the thing to be like, move the shotgun. No. Just stand in between fist versus shotgun. I'm a win.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's where I laughed. I laughed hysterically at that.
I want to add a third moment when the husband also is trying to be tough and he gets like a frying pan and he accidentally hits one of the red caps before he knows that they're trying to help them. And the red cap just goes, "No hitty, silly Billy." They talk through the movie. Like once they're introduced, they start talking. And it is the funniest thing. Anytime that they talk, they have the funniest lines.
Yeah.
But
We can go on.
yeah.
I just spit leaked all on my laptop because of that. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, we'll move on from from Unwelcome. But yeah, my vibes when I sent the movies was I wanted something that was going to be funny to send to the both of you, and that you could have fun with.
It was fun. It was a fun movie.
That was the vibes that I was going for, and I think now it is the perfect time to talk about our final movie, Fun Vibes.
Fun Vibes.
Take it away.
Oh, okay. I gotta. Okay, I'll caveat this a little bit. I'm gonna set my framework and then kind of go from there. So you guys may or may not know this. I am an alien enthusiast. I would not say necessarily I believe in aliens, but I think the concept of them, I think we all can agree that's like very interesting, right? Life that does not originate from Earth. What form would that take? What would they be like? I find that stuff very interesting. However, okay. Now, bear with me here. I would say I maybe have consumed a disproportionate amount of alien-related media, particularly with my dad. We, growing up, I watched a lot of bullshit History Channel, bullshit other thing where, stuff like that, right? Where I was shocked watching this movie, and I was like, wait a second, this is something that really happens in real, this is obviously a fictionalized thing in the movie, but I'm like, damn, is this where it comes from, or why it's considered a thing? And it's actually something I want to loop you into, Nick. Maybe, okay, sorry, I'll get to that point when we get there in the thing, but to kind of introduce this movie, Christopher Walken, the God, so good. Christopher Walken is a man who is pretty successful in life. It's actually really funny. I just, for the first time ever, watched The Deer Hunter. Has ever seen that movie?
I've heard of it, never seen it.
Oh my God! I mean, it's not a horror movie. It won Best Picture for the year it came out. Christopher Walken is fantastic, and I'll leave it at that. Though. That is kind of like the movie that put him on the map, quote unquote. And I was like, I understand why. It's a great performance. It's a tremendous performance. But Christopher Walken is a man. He's pretty established. I would say this is a movie from, I believe, 89.
Yep.
Late 80s. He's pretty established at this point. He is a man who is successful. He seems to have everything. In fact, is able to go on vacation, go to this cabin that they own. But he becomes absolutely convinced after this visit to this cabin. There's some weird events that happen at this cabin. He believes that there's something outside trying to get in. He's also plagued by these nightmares where he just believes something else is in the room with him. He starts seeing weird stuff, including what appears to be, the classic gray alien with the large eyes and large head, insectoid type bug creatures and stuff like that. Blue doctors. I don't know if you remember that. And it's really funny, guys. This is all if you talk to people that have supposedly been abducted or had alien experiences, you can categorize these into oh yeah, this was the gray experience, this was one of the doctors, aliens, according to people that are really into it. It's really strange, right? Also, just so you know, this movie is based on somebody's account. Yes, Yes, this is like
True
What?
story. This movie is a true story. You heard it here
What?
first. Christopher Walken danced
Yes.
with aliens.
Christopher Walken is portraying the actor, the author of a book that wrote about their experiences with extraterrestrials. This supposedly happened to somebody, which is very interesting. Thank you, Ryan. What I will kind of jump to now, anyway, after this visit to this cabin, he's getting these he's getting these weird things. Things are becoming uncomfortable for him and his family. There's that one scene that's kind of crazy where he almost shoots his wife. That's crazy.
What?
It's a crazy his delusions and like the blending of real life and not real life are getting so bad that like he's like scaring the son and his wife is getting really concerned, obviously, after like he like thought that like she was like an intruder, and is like waving this gun around, and she's like, you gotta do something about this, like you gotta talk to somebody, professional help. Which brings me to you, Nick. I have to ask you about something. Hypnotic regression therapy. Is that like actually like something that is like propped up by the psychiatric community? Because dude, this is quite common in alien cases, that it's like where people like don't quite remember what happened to them, or they like remember fragments and stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, it all seems like pseudoscience bullshit. Where it's like if you hypnotize somebody, which is also kind of bullshit, like you're just power suggestion, like sorry, maybe this hot take section, but like that is kind of like thing. And I think if you have somebody in this like supposedly state of hypnosis, you could suggest things to them that just become their reality, or like helps them fill in like blanks in their thing. So I think a lot of it is in bad faith. I'm gonna say, Nick, have you ever heard of this though? Hypnotic regression therapy. It's like a real thing.
I haven't heard it called hypnotic regression therapy, but I've heard of hypnotic therapy. And it's used to kind of make unconscious or suppressed trauma realized.
I should not call it bullshit then.
Yeah, no, I fun fact, I've only ever seen like a hypnosis once. And I know about like the studies of suggestibility and how that gets impacted. So I'm skeptical about hypnosis as in like, controlling someone's physical actions.
Right.
But it is common to what's called now EMDR therapy, which uses lights to essentially do the same thing, create to bring back kind of memories of trauma that have been suppressed or forgotten. I've never seen it done. I've also never seen hypnotic therapy be done. I've only ever seen hypnosis be done for entertainment. So I don't know, but I have heard that, yes, with aliens, right? Where like it's they had shit happen to them. They were probed or whatever it was called. And
Christopher Walken's probed, all right. And you think I'm kidding? He
oh, nice.
Totally.
Great.
It is implied in these hypnotic regression therapies that he did get sexually assaulted by aliens. It is also implied that he danced with aliens. It is also implied that, this has been happening to him for a long time, and he just doesn't remember it. Like, this incident, weirdly, like with this cabin, is like this weird breakthrough thing where, like, it's like he's just seeing these aliens a lot more, but they've always been there, right? And it's kind of, okay. I guess I'm going to have to show my hand a little bit. This movie is kind of bad.
What?
What? Oh, okay. Are you being facetious? Okay, yeah. No, this movie is not. Sorry, I'm making maybe it seem more epic than it is, or like whatever. It was a $7 million movie in 1989. I think a lot of that money went towards the casting of Christopher Walken. If we're gonna be real,
probably.
Who is batshit crazy the entire movie.
It's like literally like a point where his wife is like, you need help, like we need to like fix this and everything, is like, I would have told him that like days ago, like I would have like told him that like 3 incidents ago. Yeah, Christopher Walken is like not sane the entire movie, and it comes as a weird, and this is like where I'm like, oh, don't go there, weird, because dude, not as an only treading the line with like, oh, like therapy, like this is hypnotic therapy or whatever, like and it's like, who knows if this is even real. It then sort of is this weird thing where it is implied that so these aliens are real, right? These aliens are real. So they're not in his head. That's where I thought they were going with it.
Okay.
Christopher Walken's father also was visited by aliens.
Oh,
and it's
genetic.
And it's implied that it's a genetic hereditary thing. And I think they're messily, sorry, just one more thing. They're messily trying to link it to mental health and like the passing down of like certain things, because
disorders.
He has a son, and his son is starting to experience weird stuff as well. Really? So I don't know exactly what this movie is about. I mean, it's called Communion. It's because it's contact between human and aliens. Maybe it's communion between family.
They're religious.
And they're also religious. Sure. I gotta say though, it was entertaining, and I love Christopher Walken. I'll always see anything that Christopher Walken's in. This movie's a bit of a stink. Alright, you saw it. Both of you saw it, right? 3 of you? I don't know how many people you saw. Okay. You watched it.
I watched it. I loved this movie. And everything you're saying here. No, everything you're saying, completely true. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie.
Christopher Walken's very entertaining.
Yes, it is extremely entertaining. Yeah. When one of his first lines in the movie is him hitting his computer and being like, "Get up, get up."
it's so good. It's like the movie has a cult status, I would say, because of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's compilations of him from the movie, just lines that he says and actions that he does.
Dude, I swear I've seen that bathtub. There's like this scene where he's in the bathtub and like there's aliens.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the more famous, like, I'm sure it was featured in a trailer or something. It's like a famous screen grab from the movie and stuff.
Yeah. Shirtless.
Him shirtless, yes, kind of looking like he's like losing his like mind, like yes, dude, like he's like not like well. This movie's really interesting. I don't know. It's entertaining. It's really bad. It's really I don't know, man. It doesn't really work as a horror movie. Yeah,
I want to add one more thing about this movie.
Yeah.
The music was done by Eric Clapton.
What?
Yes.
He scored this movie?
He scored it. I remember watching the intro credits and being like, did that just say Eric Clapton?
I'm so bad at watching, dude. I'm so bad at watching intro credits. I'll like go and be like, oh, one more thing before the movie like starts. It's like, only older movies have credits at the beginning, and I was like, oh, like perfect, like and actually, it's kind of nice to have credits at the beginning of the movie. I think it's kind of fun,
So, like, do you know those like the guitar riff that would like at the start of like almost every single scene that
yes,
it's
it's kind of annoying. God. And I would say I'm a fan of Eric Clapton's music, not a fan of Eric Clapton the person. Holy shit. There is some crazy stuff. I go to his Wikipedia page. You always know you're in for it when, okay, guys, even though, call me toxic if you need to, I hope my Wikipedia page has a controversy. Yeah. I hope it has a section that's just devoted to my controversy. That's how you know you're about to get into some good shit.
Listen, everything you said about the hypnotic regression therapy, all of that controversy. You're done for.
Controversy. Oh yeah. Apparently, I'm freaking sorry. I literally and by the way, sorry. This is a weird tropic thing in movies to be like, oh, I'm going to hypnotize you. Like even it's used actually pretty effectively in Get Out, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Wouldn't you guys say it's kind of a not using this way in Get Out, but wouldn't you guys say it's kind of a lame storytelling device to be like, now we're going to hypnotize you and we're going to see the other half of the scene that you were guys, I don't know, man. I
rarely will like it. I mean, I love it in Malignant because in that movie, it knows that it doesn't want to be the big twist there. It just kind of adds a tiny bit more to the story, a different moment from her childhood, and that's all it adds. And that's perfect. That's all that I want for a hypnotic scene.
I think we've spoken a lot about the praises of Malignant, but I will say this, dude. I remember seeing it with you. Sorry, Ryan and I saw this movie big screen together with my friend Justin. And dude, I've never before or since, I don't think, I've watched a lot of movies that have been like, God damn. Like this movie, I was at we were at the 45-minute, almost hour mark, and I was like, God damn, this movie kind of sucks. This movie is not good.
Same. Yes.
And then it all falls into place. And I'm like, oh no, this movie's actually really good. Yeah. Oh no. And that has not happened to me in such clearly you, unless you have some sort of weird precognition, you can never see it happen. You never see it coming. And then I was like, whoa, this movie's actually really good. I remember being shocked.
Our good friend Brianna recently watched *Malignant*, and by recently, yesterday, when this podcast is being filmed. And
she liked it.
She gave it 3 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd.
3 out of 5 stars? Fuck out of here!
Trap is rated higher.
Fuck off! So respectfully, fuck off! No way. No way. Malignant is 4.5 all day. Come on.
So she FaceTimed me towards the end of the movie, right after the police scene is when she FaceTimed me to show the end of the movie. And her reactions to everything that was happening after, I was like, how are you giving this 3 stars? I literally saw you full on jaw dropped when you think the sister gets killed.
Yeah. One of the best finals, it's a really good final sequence for, really does a lot of things effectively horror-wise. Dude, I cannot believe.
And listen, 3, we love Brianna. Brianna is an absolute queen, a star, an icon. That take is wild.
Yes, I just gotta.
Listen, I'll tell you what, we will try to get her on for when we do our Valentine's Day special.
Wow. What are we going to do for our Valentine's Day special? Can we talk? Do you have informed up? Or is just going to be talking about what we're going to do? Yes,
so I was thinking, and this is a great way for us all to discuss this. There's a few options. We could watch a new one that's coming out, a new horror movie that's based around Valentine's Day. Hard Eyes. Looks slasher. Might be good, might not. I'm interested in it.
Hard Eyes. Okay. I've heard of Hard Eyes. I've what's the word? Sorry. I've heard it's anticipated decently.
Yeah. Because it kind of is very reminiscent of a My Bloody Valentine. So that could be an option. We could go more towards the route of a horror romance, a more comedy rom-com. We could do Your Monster with Melissa Barrera. Very Broadway, the movie. I know we all are very into theater, so that could be an interesting choice for us. There's Lisa Frankenstein with Katherine Newton and Cole Sprouse. I love that movie. I don't know if it's a hot take that I love that movie. I really love that movie. And it didn't even reach my top 5 because that's how good 2024 was with horror last year. Like, I thought it was a shoo-in.
Oh.
And it got outplaced by 5 other movies. It's currently 6 from 2024, but we could do a Lisa Frankenstein. We could do a talk of like Let the Right One In.
I was just about to bring it up. Could we do Let the Right One In? I personally have never seen it, which is a shock because I've wanted to see it for like 8 years, but I just haven't brought myself to it. But I do hear it's very good.
And it could also be something that we do. We could talk about it for like one right before the Valentine's Day episode. That could be it. You know, it's up to you guys. I love Let the Right One In, so I'm always down to give that one a rewatch.
There's the remake. Is that also
Let
called
Me
Let
In?
the Right One? Let Me In, and that one kind of blows.
Oh, it's terrible. It is.
Yeah, that one
awful.
blows. Who is the main person? Chloe Grace?
Yeah, it has a Moretz.
See, here's the thing. All right, we all are guys here, right?
Controversy.
Maybe,
Controversy.
maybe, okay. The locker room talk away thing.
Oh man.
2 heads, fellas. 2. Okay. Well, all right, I'll leave it there. Yeah. Let Me In. I definitely appreciate it with 1 head, but my other head is not. Okay. Sorry, guys. All right.
What?
Right. Peace out. Oh well. Fuck it.
I'm gonna look it up. Let Me In. 2 heads.
Okay. Ryan's got it. Okay. Talk about it. We'll talk about it off. Oh yeah. I'm an appreciator. Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah. All right. I'll take
my big
one.
socks. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sorry. That was. I wouldn't have even attempted it if I knew. Sorry.
Put in the controversy. Put it. Who's writing it? Who's writing the Wikipedia?
Somebody write it down, please.
I'll leave it in the bio for the Wikipedia editors to.
Brutal.
I'll timestamp it.
I also want to mention how in Let Me In, how we have Clay from 13 Reasons Why in this movie.
No.
That's crazy.
As the bully. Who's bro bullying? Let's be honest. Who is bro bullying?
Bro. Oh, Dylan Minnette is the bully?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Bro. No offense to Dylan Minnette. He has a very getting bullied phenotype. You know? that dude is great at getting bullied, not being bullied.
And on top of that, they have Richard Jenkins in the movie.
What?
Richard Jenkins.
Yes, you guys know Richard Jenkins. Right?
Oh. Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, a lot of things. He's always the dad. He's always playing a dad.
I don't remember him.
He's the dad in Step Brothers.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's always playing a dad. I think he plays the dad in Dear John. He plays the dad in Eat, Pray, Love, I believe.
He's in The Cabin in the Woods as one of the workers.
I've seen Step Brothers. I don't remember this guy though. I'd have to look him up, see his face.
The dad to John C. Reilly.
I don't remember. I have to look it up. Yeah.
As soon as you see his face, you're gonna be like, "Oh my god, this guy!"
Yeah. I'll look it up as soon as we get off the podcast because I don't want to open up my internet and cover up like the screen that I'm recording, just in case.
You just cover it with just pictures of Richard.
Yeah.
So we'll talk off the pod. We'll figure out what our next movie will be and what the Valentine's Day special will be. It'll be a surprise, but it may or may not be one of those options that we just talked about. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys for being here. And of course, thank you to Skippy for being a part today. I'm glad that you watched Stay Alive and that you found some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, I'm happy to participate.
Always good to have you here, Skip. Thank you for documenting my controversies for the future masses of fans we have in the show. Yeah, unfortunately, Ryan, I'm gonna have to ask that these early episodes get deleted so that we kind of rewrite history a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Or they'll be added to the controversy tab. They're like, actually, Bill said in this podcast episode in the original
actually, well, technically, what we could do? We could do Three Strangers Premium. We could do a Patreon. You could get the fucked up evil episodes.
We'll call random people and be like, "Did you see this horror movie?"
I'm just gonna be so real. I saw Grace Moretz as Carrie, the inferior Carrie. Wow. She makes inferior remakes. Wow, is that a thing up there?
Oh man, that's
if
too
there's the Amityville Horror.
Oh my God! I was gonna say if we can find a third one, it's totally a thing. Yeah, she should not remake movies. She's not good in them.
Are you right? Tom and Jerry.
Actually,
movie 2021.
Can I be real?
Oh, if we stay. Oh, I saw that. I saw it by Stay. She's in Kick-Ass.
You ready for this? The Suspiria remake.
Well. Okay.
A good one. I will always get Suspiria remake is good.
Suspiria remake is pretty good.
I think it's I think they're both great movies. I think they're to me.
Guys, I just realized this though. Why is she typecast as a horror remake actress? That's really crazy. If it's more than 3, then it's people in the industry are thinking of you in that way. That's interesting. Okay. I didn't think about that.
But I will always give her, after watching it, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya. She's the English dub of the main character. Mm-hmm. That is probably her best role she's ever been in. I'm gonna just drop that right here.
English dub? That's her best role she's ever been in. God damn, Ryan! Just
no, she is really good in that. She does an excellent job. That's a top tier movie. I'm just gonna say it. That. Very top tier. Had me bawling my eyes out watching it.
Oh, but I'm not gonna see this shit.
Wow.
Studio Ghibli.
Dude, I just did a double feature.
Yes.
Oh, you know that one? I did a double feature with. Yeah. Oh, sorry, with some DCP friends. I recently watched Porco Rosso, which is so good. Studio Ghibli.
Excellent.
And the most recent one, Boy and the Heron.
I haven't watched it yet. I have it. It just hasn't happened yet.
I'm actually gonna do you guys a favor. I'm not gonna say shit about it. I'm gonna say shit about it.
Thank you.
But I mean it. Okay, yeah. Okay.
But there's a boy and a heron in the.
You guys will never. Okay, so craziest shit ever happens in the fucking movie. There's a boy. I will say we made a joke. We made a little drinking game thing that we're whenever there's a boy and there's a heron, and that we're whenever the two of them appear on stage screen together, we have to do take a sip, or whatever. It happens so often that we literally had to stop the game. It literally is they're
oh my God,
they are the two central characters. So anyway, but yeah, this is interesting. Sorry, I'll leave you with this. Not the original name, the movie. You know what the original Japanese name of the movie is?
The Boy and the Heron.
The Boy and the Heron. That's the English localization name.
Oh, what is it? I feel like I've heard it before.
It's really different.
And boy.
No, dude, it's really different, and people say it's kind of a bastardization that they decided to go with, because the movie is about like the two central characters. It's very like, you know, what is the Lion King about? It's like, well, it's about a kingly lion, right? So it's The Boy and the Heron. The original name of the movie is How Do You Live?
Oh, jeez.
Yes, you're right. I
Yeah.
remember
How do you
seeing
live?
that. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the original thing of it. And actually, well, I will. Oh God, it's so hard not to spoil things. Much more appropriate title. Anyway, I'm just gonna say.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's all I got for you.
All right.
All right. So on that note, how do you live?
How do we live? How do we live? Good picks, guys. I think all around we covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah,
This
I
was
think
fun.
we did a lot of different subgenres. I think we got a lot of different tones and themes and all of the above. I truly don't think we had a movie that was like, this is absolute like dog crap. I think there was at least one element in every single movie that Communion at least was funny. Communion.
We were really treading the line. I would actually, out of 10, give Communion like a 3.5. I'll be real. If we're being real. Just like a movie on its own. Maybe 4.
I don't know if you want to know what I gave it on Letterboxd.
Dude,
Oh
what the
no,
fuck did you
Ryan,
give it
you
on
and your
Letterboxd?
ratings.
Dude, please, God, don't tell me
You
you
got
gave
a
it. This is
4.
on
You gave it a
Letterboxd.
4, didn't you?
You gave it a 4?
4.5.
I gave it a 4.
No, dude. Dude, on Letterboxd, I give it like literally on Letterboxd, I give it a 2. I give it a 2, actually. On Letterboxd.
My comments was, words can't describe this movie. If you told me before watching that Christopher Walken will kiss an alien and dance shirtless with aliens, I would not have believed you. I had an absolute blast. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that said, thank you everyone for watching. Of course, again, thank you to Skippy. We loved having you on. Of course, you're always welcome to whatever input you have on a movie, an actor, anything. You are always welcome to join in.
Pleasure to be on.
Thank you. Of course, thank you to Nick. Thank you to Bill for being here and sending the movies to each other. This was a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it again.
Thanks, guys.
And on that note, remember, communion is peak.
No!
See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.